Hey guys, welcome back to Hype RC. In today's video, we finally got our hands on the FX118 Fury Wagon from Furitek. It is based on the Hobby Plus CR-18P EVO chassis. Now this has a lot of upgrades. We're going to sit it side by side to this and see exactly what they upgraded and what's the same. So let's get it over to the bench and see exactly what comes in the box. So let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the box. Packaged up very nicely. So it looks like we got an instruction manual, charger, some extra springs, some mirrors, a bumper, a T-wrench, instruction manual. Looks like it's packaged up pretty nice. We got some foam packing in here, and then this green, wow, that is nice. That looks really good in person. And then we've got our remote, which this is just like the FMS remote. This is one of my absolute favorite remotes with the dip switches on it. Got Furitek branding up here on the top. Very nice. And this is super nice. That green is super sharp looking in person. Kind of a candy apple green with a flake in it. Very nice. That is awesome. So let's go ahead and take an up-close look at the rig itself. So this is the FX118. It is a power wagon body. It comes in candy apple green, and I don't know if you guys can see that in the camera or not, but it has a ton of flake in it. I love the fact that they kept the windows cleared out and they didn't sticker them or paint them over. Now this is different than the CR-18P body. It is flat and the wheel wells on the front are more cut out. It does not have headlights or tail lights on it, but it does come with lights already pre-installed in the roll bar. I went ahead and got the mirror and the front bumper put on here, and this thing is just super sharp in person. So let's go ahead and take a look at the best part of this rig. So underneath we have all separate electronics. This is a 4-channel receiver connected to the Lizard Pro with FOC and Bluetooth, so you can tune this system in. It does come with the Venom brushless motor, which is a 3450 kV. It comes with an aluminum machine chassis and hex hardware, which is a huge upgrade over the previous model with the Phillips head screwdrivers. It comes with big bore aluminum shocks, which are very nice. They feel fantastic right out of the factory. It did come with the same wheels and tires. This is a 1.2 combination of wheels and tires on here. It did come with all metal gears in the transmission, the diffs, and the portals. We'll get that apart later and make sure that those are all greased up very nice. It does come with an axle on servo. It does say that it is a 45-degree turning radius, and that is exactly what it looks like it has on here. It's a 4-link in the front and the rear. It does come with beefed up plastic drive shafts. This rear one is a telescoping one. It comes with a 600 milliamp 2S battery, and really I can't really nitpick anything on this. It looks super sharp, really no problems. I think I might take the electronics and see if I can't get them moved further up front, but other than that, this thing just looks amazing right out of the box. So let's go ahead and get a battery charged and get this thing out on the rocks. I want to run it box stock before we do some heavy mods in the next couple weeks and see how well we can get this rig performing. Alright guys, I just wanted to do a quick side-by-side comparison of the base model and the new performance model. So this is the CR-18P EVO, and then this is the new FX118 performance model. So we're going to go over the major differences, and the first one is the bodies. You can tell this one has shaved fenders for more articulation and clearance on the tires, and this one's going to have headlights and taillights. Now this one does have lights. They are actually integrated into the roll bar. This has the ability to do that, but there's actually no lights in there. So underneath is where the major differences are going to start. So the first thing you can tell is that these aluminum chassis are totally different. This is a stamped sheet metal chassis, as where this is actually a machined 6061 aluminum chassis. It has a lot more locations to mount the shocks and the links for being able to tune in the suspension. And the next thing you'll notice is that the shocks themselves are completely different. So these are friction shocks, and you can tell it's very bouncy. It doesn't absorb anything. These are big bore oil filled shocks, so you can tell when it drops it just plants. That is a major upgrade for this rig. So we have the same transmissions in here, but this is a brushless motor, this is a brush motor, so it has to have a 2-speed transmission over here to be able to do high and low speed, as where the brushless motor can do high and low speed on a single transmission. So the battery location is also changed. This battery is lowered into the vehicle to give it a lower center of gravity, as where this one sits out to the rear. The electronics are actually in the rear of the performance model, and these are up front here. And then on the bottom of these rigs, rigs, there's some more major differences, is that this is a 4-link on the front and the rear, as where this is a 3-link with a 4-link in the rear, and then this has a panhard bar up here. So then the servo is actually mounted on the axle on this one, which lowers the center of gravity again, as where this one is chassis mounted and sits much higher. And then you'll notice that the drive shafts are a lot beefier on this one to handle more power than they are on the base model here. This one actually sits a little bit lower right off the bat, and that is just to keep the center of gravity lower, which keeps this rig more planted. Let's go ahead and get these rigs out on the rocks. Alright guys, there's a few things we need to go over before you just start running this rig. You need to get the Furitek app downloaded, and you need to get the Bluetooth module and battery charged and get it hooked up. And then you're going to go here and hit the Furitek app. And now these things are what you're going to have to do before you can go out and start running your vehicle. The very first thing you need to do is update the firmware. Now I've already updated mine. It's to the newest setting, which is 1.7. You need to choose that. And if you're not, you choose that and you hit update, and it will load, and then you will hear your ESC chime. The next thing that you absolutely need to do is to make sure that these are all set correctly. You need to make sure that you are set to crawler. You need to make sure the motor is set to brushless. The correct motor set, which we are running the Venom. Now, temperature unit, you can set it to Celsius or Fahrenheit, but you do need to set up a current protection, and you can do that at 50 or 70. I have mine set at 70, but you need to set that. Don't leave it at none. The next thing you need to do is go to running, and then right here, you need to make sure that you are in forward reverse. You need to make sure that you set a cutoff voltage for your LiPo battery, or you will drain it down and you will kill it. This is basically the BEC. I'm leaving it set at 5 volt because I don't know if that servo can take the 6.5, and it's running fine, so I'm going to leave it there. This has to be set at counterclockwise to move forward. When you hit forward, the rest of these are all optional settings that you can pick and choose to mess with and tune your rig in. And then the last thing that you absolutely have to do is you have to come over here and you need to calibrate your controller in. So you're going to hit this button right here, and it's going to have you set full neutral, full reverse, and full forward. When you're done, it's going to ask you to save, and when you hit save, you're going to hear the ESC chime, and then it will be complete. These are things that you have to get done before you take this rig out and start running it. I highly recommend that you do this before you take your rig out for the first run. Alright guys, let's get some quick measurements on the weight on our rig from our Sky RC scale. So we are sitting 52% to the front with 48% in the rear, 53% to the right, and 47% to the left. I think that this rig would benefit from getting it balanced out left to right and definitely adding some weight up front. Guys, let's talk about how the Furitek FX118 performed right out of the box. It did absolutely amazing, which I thought it would, and it did not disappoint. So let's go over the pros and the cons of this rig. And the number one pro is absolutely the Furitek electronics that come in this. The Lizard Pro is an absolute beast, and the fact that you can tune that with the Furitek FuriCar app and make it run exactly to your driving style is a huge bonus right out of the box. Next, that Venom brushless motor is awesome. It has a huge amount of torque and a huge amount of wheel speed for such a tiny little motor. So you can crawl this rig, you can trail this rig right out of the box. No 2-speed transmission. Absolutely fantastic. Next, let's talk about the oil-filled shocks. So I was a little skeptical of the first release of some oil-filled big bore shocks for an 18th scale because it's very hard on these lighter rigs to get something that works just right, and they did not leak at all, so I'm extremely impressed with those. Next, the on-axle servo is a great comp mod right out of the box for this rig. No other 18th scale rig has that, so that's just another check on the box for a good performance rig. The front links are actually, the steering links are plastic links, and I was not disappointed by those at all, and the servo has plenty of speed and plenty of torque for this rig. The 4 links on the bottom also did very well. They are plastic, and it helped to slide right over the top of any obstacles. I love the fact that it has 4 link in the front and the rear. And then the tunability of this chassis gives you a huge amount of shock locations and link locations. So again, you can tune this rig in to the course and your driving style. Absolutely no problem. Those are huge bonuses right out of the box. There are a few cons with this because no rig is absolutely perfect. One of the cons is I don't like the front bumper on this. It sticks out way too far for my liking for a comp rig, and that's something that I'm going to address myself and come up with a custom bumper for the front of this thing. The next thing is, and it's the same thing on a lot of RTRs, the wheel and tire combination on this is subpar. You know, no rig really comes with a great wheel and tire right out of the box. Again, that's something that's easily upgraded. Now, I did high center this rig a few times, and that's the give and take of a low center of gravity chassis like this. I do think that they just released a flat skid with high clearance links on Furitek USA, so I'm gonna get that ordered and get that in as soon as possible. And the last thing that I really don't like is the weight distribution on this. I know that it was actually forward biased by 52 to 48, but I really want to get to that 60 mark, and I don't like the electronics being mounted in the rear. I've got another upgrade coming very soon that's going to go ahead and take care of that problem. I do like the fact that they did have the battery mounted lower in the chassis than the CR-18P, so that was a very nice detail right out of the box. But all in all, this rig gets a 9.5 out of 10 for me. With just a few mods, a little bit of brass to get some weight down low, this thing is gonna be unstoppable. So I'd like to thank Furitek USA for getting me this rig and getting it to me as soon as possible after the release. So don't forget to support your local hobby shops. Bash, crawl, repeat. Hit that subscribe and like button for me and ring the bell so you can catch my next video. We'll see you next time.